So I just want to get straight to the point, right, about the dues. Right now we're doing dues at $25. I'm sure that a lot of people already know that. That comes out with the membership ID. For those that already signed up with the membership ID, we're going to order when we get about 40 people, 30 people that actually pay for the dues. Right now we're at about half of that. People still participate right now. Quick people that are still haven't paid dues are still participating. But at that point, we're going to kind of like try to phase into the dues paying members now, right? So one thing that we did add to this benefit list was the new lecture series that we established, right? Which I'm going to be speaking about briefly in a minute, right? So for people that are involved in the tech control program, of course, you need to be dues paid as well. So people involved in the tech control program, we actually got a lot of upcoming jobs coming up. So San Antonio, one of the companies in San Antonio, Delta Systems, actually contacted us straight out of San Antonio, and one of the representatives asked if we can basically assist or actually lead 3 jobs down here, which are ranging from network to primarily computer support. Yeah. So we're going to be helping out with that. I need to send out all the estimates to those guys, right? But we have those 3 jobs coming up, and it looks like they're going to be a pretty good source of different jobs coming up in the future because they're running low on technicians here in South Texas. Right now, we're going to do the restaurant cable management actually next week, I believe. So next week on Saturday, we already got food and we already got green light for that restaurant, that cable management job. If you want to get involved with cable management, you can go ahead and meet up with us. We're going to go ahead and send it on via email to the tech control member team, right, and also on Slack. But this is going to be happening this coming weekend on Saturday, Sunday, the following week. Museum of South Texas History, we're already solidified a deal with the Museum of South Texas History. We're maintaining 18 devices for computer support. So we need to actually go and set up the device that we're going to be using to virtually connect. We're going to be setting up actually at the Museum of South Texas History. So we're going to be doing that very soon too, within about a week or so. So people that want to get involved with learning how to do basic computer support and virtual connections, this would be a great opportunity for you. Also, we got another, and we've been getting quite a few. In fact, while I was here today, we got another position or another job for the tech control team. But this one is about 95 terminations. This is here, I believe it's on 1, but they're asking for assistance too. So we got a lot of stuff going on for the tech control program. So one thing that I want to talk about the tech control program is actually regarding the application development committee. The app development committee, actually House wasn't able to come today, and some others, but on the application development committee, we're actually establishing a tech control app so that way you can actually go about different ways of being able to register for those different types of engagements, right? So one big thing about this tech control application is that I've been talking to SHRM, which is a Society of Human Resource Managers, and I've been talking to a lot of the HR executives around town, one of which being like the vice president of HR at Rio Grande Regional Hospital. So I've been talking to different types of HR managers, and we've been just trying to spread awareness about technology, right? And specifically trying to hire information technology technicians, right? Because a lot of people will probably understand the HR when they get to the actual determination process, they might not know how to assess a true technology job. And the reason why is because it's technical in nature, right? So they're not information technology professionals, so they're not going to know quite a bit about technology, right? So that's what we're trying to explain to them. And through that app, we're going to be recording different types of jobs that you attend, and of course the competencies that you would have learned in that job, right? So it's going to generate a transcript, and that's what I'm talking about SHRM right now. They're going to be hopefully using that as an optional, like if you've gone to most job applications, they have an optional section where you can upload different types of items. Well, that would be one of the transcripts that you would upload in the application process. So we're trying to train HR managers to consider STIDA's tech control transcripts as well as the new lecture series transcripts that we're coming up with too. So it's really effective to get into this type of position. Why? Because you're continuously generating experience, and you do get a transcript, a list of all these different types of jobs that you actually were able to work on, right? So Project Plus course, trying to turn through this stuff very quick. A lot of people already know about Project Plus course. Dennis Stewart from ITA is actually teaching that course. He already has his Project Plus, has a lot of experience, especially in project management and IT field. We're going to be holding that class, and the cool thing about it is that we actually got a CompTIA discount. We talked to one of the business development managers in the region, and we're offering the classes $750 for professionals and $560 for students. Be aware that students do also get, and we've been working with professionals too about payment plans. So if you want to start, like let's say you don't have all the funding right now. We've been working with the Hidalgo County and different types of organizations that are really interested in these types of Project Plus courses that, of course, we're trying to assist people here and there. So we got a lot of people registered already, and there's been a lot of talk about the Project Plus that we're holding on to right now. But if you're interested in it, you're more than welcome to get more information. We might possibly offer this after this course, see how successful it is. We might offer it again, or do maybe possibly a Server Plus or an ITA, different types of certifications, right? So if you have any questions about this, just go ahead and email me at agarcia@student.org. Like I said, we're willing to work with payment plans. If you know anybody, make sure to refer them over. Also, if you know people that are in your own organization that would like to do it, we do group discounts, and the group discounts can reduce the $750 as low as $650 and $560 as low as $500. So we will work with you on getting you certified. We're trying to provide it at the least possible cost. Questions? Project Plus?
So you had, I know for a fact, 3 people from the Hidalgo County, right?
Yeah. So they were interested in for sure. They're already ready to go. We already received a couple of people that, like actually one just dropped by today to talk about this course. So yeah, it's been pretty popular so far. Any questions regarding the Project Plus? Okay, so one of the cool things one of the new programs that we're actually establishing, which I'm pretty excited about, is the security camera for Raspberry Pi through the Cyber Committee. So it's very difficult nowadays to be able to establish a CCTV system in a conventional environment, like where there's a lot of crime going on, right? Why? Because there's a lot of crime. First of all, if they damage the equipment, you're going to lose a lot of money, and that's something that I was discussing with a client that we were working with here in Mission. But we found a way to establish these Raspberry Pis between about $8 to $15 a unit, just to establish a camera rank. And the way that it would work is it's a great tech control opportunity because we would actually, the tech control team would be programming these Raspberry Pis. And of course, it can go as far as the storage as well. We're going to buy different types of storage units, right? But let's say we're trying to keep it as low cost as possible for the community, and using the FIFO method for information, we're just going to be rewriting all the images that it takes, right? And we're going to try to provide that type of service to the community, right? This will be completely free to the community. So we're trying to get these up and going right now. It would be something like a Pi Zero with a Pi Zero camera on top, right? And what we're actually going to do to make it moisture proof is I had the idea of actually getting a 3-dimensional printer. We actually got a donation for a 3-dimensional printer. So we have a 3-dimensional printer out in my car right now. So we have a 3-dimensional printer ready to go. And I actually got to talk a lot with people from Autodesk. So I got to know some of the executives from Autodesk. So we're going to try to get an Autodesk subscription completely free for students here. So not only will you learn how to use Autodesk on the 3-dimensional printing for the casing, you also learn how to program the Raspberry Pi and be able to go out there and install it, right? For people concerned about CCTV systems, we're applying for BPS right now to get our manager license for CCTV. So people that are interested can get under that manager, right? Of course, you have to go through the background check with BPS and pay the applicable fees, which usually ranges around $50, I believe, for technician licenses. But that's what's going to be going on right now. And this is something that we've been working on with Hidalgo County's Sheriff's Department. So the Crime Prevention Unit was really interested in this situation. They're already doing pre-home inspections or pre-home security inspections for the community. So when they heard that we were doing this Raspberry Pi project, they were pretty excited about the effort. So that's something that's coming up pretty soon. Any questions on it so far? Of course.
So how would you get the information? How do you do it? So it'll be like on the web, or how does it get it?
So we were thinking about a cloud basis, and that the only bad thing about a cloud basis, of course, it would basically restrict us to communities that already have IT infrastructure, which are not completely underprivileged communities, right? So what we're doing is we're basically acquiring a USB, right, and we're just going to be putting it in there, right? So in the casing, it's going to be inaccessible from the top. Yes, there's a port, and for this actual device, there's going to be a prone. Like if an intruder were to go and smash it, of course they can take the USB, but they wouldn't know. Of course, it has a power supply running through there, so you can see some of the cords, right? It's used more as a deterrent, as well as people that don't see it, which that's something that we're planning on doing with the 3-dimensional printer. I mean, obviously it's going to be something like black, or whatever the skin tone of a natural building would be, right? People don't see it. You can actually see faces of people that are breaking into your vehicles or whatever. We've been seeing a lot of of issues with crime rates. That's the reason why we want to record the crime rates before and after, right? But the storage would be based off of USB, right? And it's going to be it's not going to be a 32 gigabyte, right? But it's going to be something along the lines of 16 gigabytes using FIFO method for information, right? So we're going to program the Raspberry Pi to override the most recent information consistently to maximize the output from that storage, right? So that's dealing with the memory issue. So the only thing that we need is just a secure power source. But I think that internet is less of a necessity than power source, so we can basically help out in the privileged communities in that sense, right? So any other questions about this? Like I said, this is coming up. This is something that you're probably going to want to get involved with. Okay, new lecture series. As you can see, that's Carlos V up there with BTX1. We're providing a new lecture series, right? As long as you're a dues paying member, you get these classes completely free. I've been talking to CompTIA right now, so just by a quick show of hands, how many people have CompTIA certifications, including the people up front? Right? A lot, right? So I don't know if you know this about the certifications. A lot of people just say, I'm just going to take an exam again, and review the certification, and then I'll renew all the certifications underneath me, right? But a lot of people don't consider the continuing education part because you have to get it from a large array of sources, right? So one thing that we're doing here is that I already talked to CompTIA, so a lot of our courses, it is going to be essentially not just a partner with selling vouchers, but we're also going to be a partner in terms of continuing education. So now when you come to these classes, those certificates that we provide, I'm sure that some of you come to certificates today, but we provide certificates, you get that, you upload it onto CompTIA's website, and they'll give you continuing education credits for those 3 hours that we did just like the last one. So we have some coming up, right, for cybersecurity. A lot of people know JR, right? He was planning on doing one for cyber. We had Robert Torres and another Chess wanted to do something too, as well as Carlos Ruiz, some of his acquaintances and stuff like that. So we have quite a few people that are going to come and present. If you know anybody that's qualified to present, we would love to have them on board. So we're going to have a call for presenters consistently.
So for the 3D printer we donated, we can do a course on how to print it.
Yeah, see, that's something that we wanted to do too. Chess was actually the one that donated the three-dimensional printer. So the auto, we wanted to do Autodesk. You remember I talked to you about that? If we get that Autodesk subscription, that's something that we're going to want to teach in the long term because it's a really sought-out course. So we can do courses anything from G Suite to social media to technology, of course. So that's something that we're going to talk to you guys about. But of course, it has to be. We're trying to keep consistent with A+, Net+, and Spirit Plus certifications, so that way you can upload those certifications because only the CPs that you obtain through STITA that are directly attributable or directly relevant to your specific certification is going to be considered for continuing education. So those are some of the things that's been going on right now. Any questions on new lecture series? No. Okay. So for a lot of people that don't know, we're actually expanding San Antonio Laredo area. We already got contacted by the Vice President of Cybersecurity from the San Antonio Chamber, and she was talking a lot about how we can get up there and help provide opportunities like this to San Antonio. The cool thing about it is that we really do have a sustainable competitive advantage in this sense. A lot of people don't offer what we offer, especially in San Antonio, because it's very difficult to even centralize our programs like Tech Control Program, right? So that's what we're going to end up doing. We're going to be pushing it out to San Antonio and out towards Laredo. So right now, San Antonio Chamber, Delta Systems, as well as Laredo College, like we were talking about previously, a lot of those people have already talked about putting us up there. So if you know anybody, any members, or any information technology professionals in San Antonio area or Laredo area, make sure to let me know and send me an email because we have a separate Slack for them already set up. So we're going to put everybody in that Slack account, and we'll get about, like, let's say a couple of members, like maybe about 50 to 60 people. We're going to hold their first meeting up there at the San Antonio Chamber and respectively the Laredo College. So that's something to consider as well. So we're expanding, and it's great to be part of an organization that's coming to the scale because you're going to be able to take a lot of opportunities. You're going to be able to establish a lot of opportunities, especially like going to San Antonio, right? In fact, we just went to San Antonio Tech Trek just recently. And we got to talk with Geekdom, Google Fiber, AT&T Fiber. We're solidifying partnerships with SBDC in San Antonio, Small Business Development Center. So we've got quite a bit of stuff coming up and running, and of course that's something that we're going to provide through social media or website. So you'll be up to date on a lot of stuff. So upcoming events, Region 1, B-Sides. So B-Sides, we're actually sponsored, so we're going to be out there with the booth. So Saturday, May 11th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. I don't know if you guys have registered already, but you should register. I think it was, what's today? Okay, I think that it's April 27th that you get a free shirt. So if you guys are going to register for B-Sides, register now, because on April 27th, they stop giving away the B-Sides shirts. So make sure to register by today, especially the Region 1 Technology Conference. I'm not sure if you'd like to talk about it.
Yeah, so we had our technology advisory committee today. We had STC there today. By the way, I'm Ronaldo Ramirez. I'm the IT director for Region 1. Previously Hidalgo County, so that's why I can shut them off. So B-Sides, we went last year. Judith worked with me in Hidalgo County. She's now IT director, executive IT director for McAllen ISD. And these guys, we went all as a team to B-Sides, and it was an amazing event. Well worked, the whole day experience. They fed you, great events. We did the escape room, fantastic event. I mean, take my word for it, make time, go do it. When we started in the IT field here locally, we would always like, there's no events, there's nothing. We are now bringing, and I had nothing to do with this, but they're bringing this quality of event, this is a national event, down to the valley. Take advantage of it. Go do it. It is well worth it. So that's one. Region 1 Tech Conference. This is a yearly event Region 1 has hosted. In the past, it was pretty much structured for teachers and educators. We are trying to redesign it and rebrand it into a regional technology conference. This is our 25th anniversary, and we are expecting a tremendous turnout. We've sold out all our booths, sold out, and we are ready and hungry to go. Now we got a month to get as many people out there as possible. Go to the regional website, go to the link, and you'll see all the sessions. Every day there's at least 3 cybersecurity sessions, there's 2 network sessions, there's some technology education sessions, which to me is an area I am not familiar with, but I'm very fascinated by. A lot of it has to do with Raspberry Pis and implementation. Ed Tech is a market that you guys may not be thinking about, but if you look into it, there's a ton of work in that area. And it really helps you be very creative. So it's something that I would look at, right? Free, you just got to get out to the island. Tons of events, tons of swag. There's going to be hospitality suites all over the place. So get out there. I know it's a little bit of a trip, but it is well worth it, okay? So thank you, guys.
I have a question about that. I read somewhere there's going to be raffles.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. So,
That's why I'm going. So.
right. Hey, you know, and I'm here. I am a dues paid member. See, $25, well worth it. Hey, free dinner, man. I've already eaten more than I've paid, so why not, right? So, and actually, that's the kind of thing that draws you, right? Because you're getting social interaction, you're getting some swag, and we are going to have, you know, some raffles. There's going to be some events. There's going to be scavenger hunts. So there's a lot of that out there. Thank you for that. Yeah, I didn't read the full market brochure before I got it. So, thank you.
Any questions about Region 1 Conference?
Sorry, on this thing.
My question is, are there any suggested hotels to stay at? Or
So on the Region 1 website, there is on the technology conference link, and if you don't mind, I'll hop in after these kids are done. There is a hotel information there. There's also, I'm a Navin Airbnb. There's some good properties on the island, very inexpensive, so you may want to look at that as well.
Question. So it's a couple of days. Is there different events going on each day, or
It's, oh, okay, so B-Sides is a STC event.
the conference?
Oh, yes, sir. There's 3 days of sessions. There's sessions in different areas with different speakers. What we do is we sell booths to vendors, Cisco, Dell, Apple. We got Apple to come down this year. But in lieu, they sign up to do a session, best practices in cloud conversions, how to keep your documents saved, blah, 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 whatever it goes. So there's a whole slew of different courses and classes within the day. So if you loan me your computer in a bit, I'll jump on and I'll kind of show you what the sessions have. So.
Technology Conference B-Sides, make sure to go. Like I said, try to book, get your tickets right now. I know that Region 1 was filling up. I registered for both of the conferences. Actually, besides, we're sponsoring, I think our cyber committee was the one that decided what we're sponsoring. We're doing the door size for B-sides. So we're going to be providing like a Wi-Fi pineapple, some land turtles and stuff like that, right? So other than that, any other questions about any upcoming events? I know that Region 1 might, oh man, I should have stayed up there when I asked you this, but I know that Region 1's having some type of cabling workshop.
Right, so this lady throwing me under the bus. So we actually have a relationship with Steve Hatch, who's the account rep for Penn. And he approached us with an idea to bring down an engineer, his top engineer from Hanwood, and just do a hands-on best practices in cabling, Cat5, fiber, installation, racking, and also, I mean, to the level of, even as infrastructure manager, when you're looking at the contracts and the bids, what to look for, what to show, best practices when they do an install, get the test before you pay, that kind of thing, because sometimes the vendors aren't necessarily on the up and up, or I mean, these are complicated projects, so people forget things. So we got the speaker to come down. I was able to secure a room in Region 1, and we're going to have them come down. It's a 2-hour thing, and I just threw that in today. It's one of the workshops. Again, it's on the Region 1 website, but so it's just the type of stuff that we're trying to develop to get it out there, to get the community involved. This one's going to be in the mornings. I know it's tougher. Your stuff's in the evening. I am working on eventually doing evening stuff as well, but we're trying to figure it all out together. We're trying not to overlap each other as well. So,
Perfect.
thank you.
No, absolutely. Thank you.
The other thing, since I'm up here, and I hate to kind of, in October, Region 1 has a cybersecurity summit. And we're going to make that sucker massive, but we're going to need presenters, we're going to need volunteers, we're going to need all kinds of resources. So after the conference, then I'll roll it out. So,
Perfect. Okay, so very quickly about us, our upcoming State of Device Drive. So the State of Device Drive is something that we came up with just maybe about like a month ago, right? So what we want to do is start collecting devices from underprivileged communities, and the reason why we came up with this was, first of all, Earth Day. I'm sure that people forgot. The only person that really remembers about Earth Day, or usually the reason why you're aware of Earth Day is because Google has it on their search engine, right? So Earth Day came up, I believe it was on the 24th?
Monday.
Or Monday, I'm sorry. Okay. So Earth Day was coming up, so what we want to do is also try to reduce pollution from a lot of the different types of batteries and technologies that are out there in our communities, right? We have a lot of devices. In fact, me personally, I found an old phone, the Kyocera, old phones, right? It's been there for a long time, and disposing of it conventionally can be harmful to the environment, especially when they put it in the landfill and burn it, right? So make sure to donate even your older devices, right? Broken devices as well. So one of the other big things that we were trying to push as well is because I'm not sure if you noticed, but April is actually financial awareness month. So what we're doing is we're actually providing tax deductions for anything that you provide. And so when you go to some of our drop locations, the Seed is our first primary drop location here. But we're trying to establish some at McAllen here in the east side and different types of locations like Mission Chamber and stuff like that, right? So you'll be able to drop it off at different locations, right? But on that, we're going to have basically a document there or like a listing, and you're going to put your name, you're going to put your legal name, of course, or name of your business that you want to deduct for. You're going to put your email, and as well as just provide a description of the device that you have. You don't have to be super descriptive, but enough for somebody to look through the materials and say, okay, that belongs to Edgar. Yeah. So make sure that you put like at least describe the model or something that like it. And one thing is, like if you know what the operating system is, and like let's say you install like some type of Ubuntu, don't list the operating system because it might not start up right, or we might not have a screen to look at it. Just try to take some physical description from the device on the outside, so that way we can make some like basically look and match on that list, right? So that's coming up. And like I said, you'll get a tax deduction through email. So the email's for that. We're going to send you a tax deduction through the email. You can use it up for taxes. So make sure this is a big tax planning opportunity, especially. I know that the standard deduction limits just went up, but it's still a great opportunity to get that, to start planning early. So it's a great tech control opportunity as well, because we take broken devices too. If you have any broken devices, drop them off. We're going to repair them and provide them to underprivileged parts of the community. I've been working with UTRGV right now to be able to provide those devices to different areas regarding the disposal of certain devices that we can't use, for example, like let's say the phones that are really old. We're going to be taking them to the McAllen also Recycling Center. That was actually a Walt's idea. And one of the things that I would like to push for as well is if you have devices that are really new, like phones, what we're trying to do is there's a national nonprofit out there that donates phones to soldiers in Afghanistan.
Cell phones for soldiers.
Yeah, exactly. So they donate phones to soldiers, right? That's what we're going to be doing as well. So if you have newer phones, make sure to provide them because we're going to be providing that critical infrastructure to our military. Any questions on the device drive?
You don't have a date though, it's gonna be.
So the date, oh, I'm sorry, the date, we didn't put it up there. We actually, it's in the packets that you have there. It's going to be running from April 24th, I believe, to May 24th.
They're gonna extend?
I'm sorry.
Is it gonna extend from that point?
So we're going to see how it does at first, and eventually we would like to make it a full-time effort, to be able to consistently bring in devices, but that is depending on how we solidify the arrangement with the McAllen Recycling Center, as well as places that are going to be accepting devices, right? Because we need to establish the need for those devices. If not, we're just going to be accumulating a bunch of.
I mean, is there some way to do a certificate of destruction or something like that? Because we're gonna can probably about 1,000 computers.
Okay, so that's great too, and so that's something that we have one thing that I didn't mention up here, and it's mentioned on that document that we have there, is for businesses that are donating more than, like, let's say 5 computers, we can actually go and pick them up for you, so you won't have to overload our actual drop locations, right? So on top of that, we already have a form because we've been getting donations for cabling and everything. If you have extra cabling, that's something we can accept as well.
Yeah, I think we're not worried about the cabling, but as far as
But like the devices.
destruction or wiping liability, taking it off, then we possibly will be able to donate with the hard drive versus donating them without hard drives.
Okay, yeah, so that's something that we can also come up with for Hidalgo. I think that's a great idea. Like we brought that up. That's something that we need to implement. But we do already have an IRS tax compliant donation letter. So if you want to donate, like I said, we can provide that for you. Like that, we already
Now
have.
we need to worry about that part.
Yeah.
They're just worried about someone to take it and clean it.
Yeah, I mean that'd be great, and that's what
But
we're
also, since it's for the community, it would also help the county. It looks good for the county because we're
Yeah,
doing it
absolutely.
for the community instead of giving them some company.
Yeah,
It's just gonna take it.
Yeah, no, that would be great. No, I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. So yeah, no, we can do stuff like that. So if you have any different types of devices that you'd like to donate, we can go ahead and pick that up for you. Any questions regarding device driver? Okay, just speak. I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask, is there a recommendation for people, like a process for people to follow? Because I know certain devices like iPhones, if you don't properly remove the password, doesn't it pose an issue with trying to?
So that's something that we're probably going to have to work with as well. So the iPhones, I know that we have a couple of people that are like I don't know if you know this, but UTRG offers a Mac technician. I got to meet a couple of people that have gone through the program. I think that they're pretty aware of how iPhones work for the most part, but we also have one thing that we're trying to do, and one thing that I got to speak a lot before we even got into this program when I used to be in cyber mission actually, is we got to do a lot of interaction with AT&T. So maybe that's something that we can partner with and try to achieve some type of partnership with AT&T. That could be a solution to that long term, but thank you for bringing it up. That's a very good question. So that's something that we can go ahead and implement as well. But any other questions? Okay, because STIDA is a regional institution, we promote synergies. One thing I would like to mention, and I just found out today, is that CoreDB happens to be holding a device drive as well. I know that they're just doing recycling, that's what I've seen. So if you have devices that are somewhat, I'm sorry.
So the posting that I saw, this discussion is they're having a tech swap meeting. So they're basically planning to set up, they're calling it the tech puga, where everybody can come bring their stuff and then they can pick and choose. So it's not specifically a recycling drive for donation.
Oh, okay.
It's more of like a swap, is what I saw in their Slack.
Oh, okay, I saw that because we saw an advertisement somewhere, it said like waste and we're recycling somewhere from what I was aware of, but maybe that expand. Yeah, no, thank you for finding that. So, I mean, this is more for the community effort, so we're trying to provide infrastructure. And like I said, a lot of the stuff that we're doing is basically in the smart city type of aspect, right? Like the cameras that we talked about before, we're providing communities that don't have technologies for security, we're providing them with security type of solutions, right? For people that don't have devices, we're basically acquiring all those devices that are just sitting down collecting dust and providing it to those individuals, right? So one of the big laws of economics from what I've been seeing from is basically taking a lower value used asset and putting it in higher value use, right? So a lot of those low value used assets are just sitting collecting dust, like I said. So we're bringing it up to the community to help establish infrastructure. And when you think about IT infrastructure as in terms of a smart region, you're not just talking about the network, because the backbone of the network is devices as well, right? So we're trying to spread devices throughout the community. So that's one of the big things that we're trying to achieve through the Sleeping Device Drive. So like I said, great that you brought that up. The device drive might go on further. You know, it depends on how successful this drive is now. If it works very well, then that's something that we can continue doing. And of course, now that we're expanding north, up north, we can do stuff like, I don't know if anybody's heard of Encino before. You've probably seen it on the map, but there's nothing there. Right? But people probably don't even know. I don't even think that there's a network out there, to be honest. But there's only just one stoplight, and that's it. But that's something that we're going to try to move up to. So I'm sure that we can find a device in a good location for people with critical need for infrastructure. So that is it for now. I'd like to welcome our guest speaker, Dude, that's coming up from McAllen ISD.
Thank you so much. I'm the executive director for McAllen ISD. I kind of sat back and said, what should I talk about? You know, once upon a time I was in your shoes, believe it or not. So one of the things I want to talk about is like the K-12 technology and positions and what it all encompasses, right? What do they do? You know, what's going on out there? Well, some of the things that we have is that we have challenges, like we have to be at least 99.95% uptime for most of all of our equipment. The equipment can be from just internet to WAN connections to our wireless to all these different devices. We have projectors, intercoms, so you can see a slew of different things that we have to worry about. So I feel like our type of field has become a utility. We're kind of like water and electricity. So people just expect it to work, you know, so they only notice us when it doesn't work. So, you know, basically that's what we have become, right? So anytime, anywhere, learning, so how can we do that, right? Cybersecurity, if you're providing all of these different devices, what is the other challenge? Is that you have a lot of vulnerabilities in your network, right? The more you provide, the more you have issues with. We also have to create like refresh cycles for our equipment. People think that once you put one device, it's there forever, and that expenditure is there for that period of time. You have to go back and either upgrade it or revamp it, right? Because technology is changing constantly, so you have to stay up to date. Of course, we also have to get our staff technically savvy. So even though you know what you know right now, 3 months down the road it might change, a year down the road it might change. So we have to keep yourself learning all the time, ongoing. Then not only do we have to provide training for our staff, but also for our end users. So as many devices as you have more vulnerabilities with the end user. If you have end users that don't know how to be suspicious or be vigilant about how to access our network, that's 3 to 4 times more vulnerabilities on your network. The other is, we need to automate and integrate systems. What happens in our environment in K-12 is that people buy for a need, let's say food service, right? Then you have a business system, then you have a student system, but then all of a sudden you have to get all these systems to talk together. So how do you do that? So you have to learn how to create those type of integrations. And how do you do that? You have to know a database structure, or you have to build a database structure so it can cross-talk between different databases, right? So it can know, my employee number is this, but over there I could be another number, right? So how are you going to make sure that that's the right person that you're actually bringing over? So there's a lot of little nuances in what we do. Building a foundation, you have to be able to also prepare yourself to the point where, even though I'm working on this particular solution at this time, I need to think about a year, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, will it meet my needs? Will it be able to scale? Can I swap it for something else? Can I make sure that what I'm putting in place is not a waste of money? So we have to be vigilant about how we spend our funds. Then we have to worry about governance, right? Policies and procedures. How do you keep yourself from safeguarding your data systems? How do you safeguard users? How do you make sure that little Johnny's not looking at porn at your school network, things like that we have to make sure that we're vigilant about. And then we have to be compliant, right? We have to be NIST compliant or any type of framework that we have to tie back to say, look, I'm meeting these standards and that's why I'm doing all these different things, right? And then we have to talk about funds, right? How do you go ask for money? How do you justify that you need 2.2 million, you need 3.4 million? I mean, technology, people think that it's like, 100,000 is a lot of money. Like for us, it's nothing. That's like just, storage or half a storage, there's nothing for us, right? It costs money to keep up to date. And you have to train your leadership to know that if I spend 100,000 this year, 4 years down the road, I'm gonna have to spend another 100,000. Because you either have to revamp or upgrade what you spent 4 years ago, right? And then staffing. You have to fight for staffing. You have to justify, why do I need all these people? Why do you have to have more people? Isn't it, can't you automate this? Can't you just push a button and all this thing happens? Yeah, that's what people expect, but it doesn't happen. One of the other largest problems that we have is that communication, customer service, right? So once upon a time, I came into this industry because I really just wanted to focus on what I wanted to work on. Well, guess what? Now you have to actually deal with people, talk to people, and keep them happy, right? So these are some of the challenges. You have to learn how to become a service-oriented person. How do you communicate? Are you listening to what the user is asking, or are you jumping to conclusions and saying, oh, this is what you want, without actually verifying if that's what they want? So you have to learn how to be a good listener, and also how to be able to interact with people. I know that our field is really hard because I know most of us are like introverts, but you have to be able to communicate yourself and say, hey, I get it, is this what you want? And move on from there, right? Okay. Oh, and the other thing is that since we do have social media, so if you don't provide this service, believe me, 2 seconds later, everybody else knows about it, right? So it's either, they got an email, or they tweeted, or they yelled, or they did this, so you have to stay conscious about how you deal with it. Not only that, like you could be in the trenches, and it affects the customer service for the whole entity. So you have to keep that in mind, that you're a representative for your whole organization. So I just put up like a couple of numbers of the type of systems that we're supporting just in a K-12 environment. And our school district, it's a mid-sized school district, but we have about 50,000 devices that are hardwired. We average about 45,000 wireless devices on a give and take daily basis. We have about 7,000 printers, 900 projectors, interactive boards, 32 intercom solutions at each campus, 1,000 video surveillance cameras, access control, panic buttons, sound solutions for each campus, auditorium solutions, scoreboards, marquees, outdoor displays, 500 switches, 2,300 VoIP phones, two sets of high availability firewalls, content filtering, 40 line connections, 4 routers. So I could go on and on and on, right? So this is all, and this is not all of it, right? This is just some of this stuff. I didn't get a chance to put everything else. I have to actually do this thing for you guys. Oh, and then the other monsters that we have: cloud replication, backup orchestration, storage, our O365 whole environment for our district, plus all the Google environment in our district. So we have 2 big, large platforms. And then, so these are some of the reasons why you should come to K-12. This is kind of like a little bit of a setup of what our org looks like. So you'll see me over here, Executive Director. Then you'll have 3 coordinators: business systems, network and security, and technology and support. So it's kind of broken up into three layers or 3 verticals. But believe me, all of these 3 parts, and even on that application support, it's all meshed. We have to really collaborate together. You can't say that I'm just going to work on a database and that's all I'm going to do. You have to interact. You have to work with the other groups, and you have to sit down and plan accordingly. If you're going to work on a database, you need to make sure you let the network team know, the users know, your network team know, your whoever's responsible for storage know. All those things we have to always work together as a team. So it's basically like if I were to get all this, I'd just put them all together in a little circle, and we all sit together and we work on everything at the same time, because we all affect one another. So I kind of put this together. I know it's kind of hard to read, but I put kind of the salary ranges for you to get an idea of like how much could I make in a K-12 environment. So I fall in the realm between 94 to 118, right? But how long did it take me to get there? So this is the reason why I kind of put it here, because it takes a long time to get to that level in our field. It's actually requiring a master's for me to be able to apply for the position. I have to have at least 5 years experience managing people. Not only managing people, but I have to have experience in administrative technology, direct applications, system database, technical services, computer programming, system design, hardware, software, networking, telecommunications. So for you to get all that background, how long is it going to take you? So the reason that I'm bringing it up is for you to kind of think, okay, if I start here, how do I get to the next level, to the next level, to the next level? How long is it going to take me? So I would say, okay, when I was your age, I said, okay, if I have to be there, how long? I better start working on technical support, telephony, this, that, whatever, so I can gain that experience, so I can get to that level. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, good. So this is just kind of give you an idea, like, okay, I can start with a high school diploma, but it's going to take me forever to get here. If not, you have to plan to get there. So I would start like in high school, volunteering to do network design, running cable, fixing phones, because you're going to be 60 by the time we get over here. So you have to kind of
I'm not throwing you under the bus a little bit. So I've known Judy about 12, 14 years, and she wasn't born director. She just got the job, and she's been fighting to get to director since as long as I've known her. She's worked in a school district environment as an assistant director. She has been a vendor for Hewlett-Packard. She worked at a fiber optic company. She worked at a cabling vendor provider company. She worked for Time Warner. So she has taken the leap and gotten the experience in every one of the sectors. So when her day came to hit that interview, she was prepared in all those areas. And she's very driven, and I know her very well. And I'm very proud of her because she's very good at what she does. I was her boss, but I would love to work for her because she is so...
You didn't say that when we were working together.
Don't ask these guys anything. No, but, so I don't want... So I'm trying to validate your point. It's not easy to get to director level, and you do have to work. But if you love what you do, it's not going to be impossible. And as much as you want to say, well, I don't want to deal with people, I want to be in computers, guess what? You're going to deal with people.
Yes.
And you're going to deal with people that do not understand what you do and want you to solve their problem. I was going to say that word. This crappy business process. They want you to write software that's going to fix the fact that they just can't enter data properly, right? So that's the challenge in IT. So I don't mean to steal your thunder, I just wanted to laud you a little bit. So
You can remember the bus or yeah.
I'm lauding you. Very
But
impressed.
yeah, he makes a good point, and that's one of the things, that's why I have to put that on there. Like, I'm saying, okay, how can I help you accelerate your career? Internships, I can have internships for you. I want to help you, right? Collaborate with higher education. Prioritize local talent. So that's one of the other challenges that we have, because usually San Antonio, other entities will take a risk. But here, we need 3 years experience, 4 years experience, 5 years. When am I ever going to get a chance, you know? So that's why I'm bringing that up. And then, how do I accelerate or facilitate? How do you facilitate your career? What do you need to do? I love that you guys have all these different programs, the technical events that we just presented. Look for internships, look for a mentor, networking within your own group. I know it's hard, like, to introduce yourself, but you just do it. You know, sometimes you have to take a risk. What was it? Okay, venture in different technical knowledge, like even though you're really strong on one thing, if you know you're weak on another, go and get a little bit more proficient on it. If someone knows how to do it, just ask. I mean, I'm sure they want to share. Or that if you notice that if you show that you want to learn, they'll teach you. What else? LinkedIn has become a great source. Like there's so much training already for free. Like there's so many things that you can become very proficient at if you just take the time to take time to learn it, you know, or try it. Or now they have virtualized environments that you can spin up servers, you know, and try all these different type of things. So don't feel like you have to be in the job to learn it. If you want to learn it, learn it. What else? And then there's ever-changing technology needs, so you have to build new positions. It's changing all the time. Okay, some of the things that we're working on, so I didn't put it on here, but we're working with the higher education where in the K-12 environment, we're going to start high school students. Like, it's hard for us to find a CISO. Do you guys know what that is? A CISO?
Chief Security Officer.
Yeah, Chief Security Officer, right? We can't find him here. Because why? It takes 15 years of experience for you to even, you can pass all the tests, but you're not going to get the job because you need 15 years minimum in the IT world. So what we're trying to do is, okay, let's start them in high school. And already in high school, build up that experience for them with internship programs, with projects to show, hey, I am proficient in this. Then go into either UTRGV, South Texas College, and continue that education to become a CISO. And if you're from here, you stay here. And now we can grow our own. Some of the things that we're working on in the K-12 arena is the CompTIA, the Microsofts. We're getting all these students certified, but you can pass the test, but it doesn't mean you know what you're doing on the field. So you have to get your hands dirty, and you have to, get in the trenches and actually start doing what you think you learned in the test. We're doing an initiative called esports. So it's going to be kind of like an extracurricular activity. So instead of just football, we're going to have esports competitions, So I think that's going to be tons and tons of fun. It's going to be like a full-blown lab with high-end computers, and we're going to have teams, and we'll hopefully create competitions against different districts. So it'll be kind of like an actual football team, but we're going to have our own gaming team. We've had events such as drone racing, combat robots for these current students, and we're developing other competitions like hacking, cyber competitions, and we're just trying to evolve, coming up with how can we engage, right? How can we prepare? I think that's it. Okay. You guys have any questions? It's all right. You guys can ask questions. This is what I'm talking about. You have to communicate. You have to put yourself out there because that's the only way people are going to be like, oh, I remember you. So, any questions? Yes, sir.
How many total ticks do you guys have?
How many texts?
Texts.
Actual text is just 7 technicians. So I did a restructure. I don't know if you saw the order. So we're down to 7 technicians only. Yeah. And that's to support the whole district. Why has that happened? Because people don't believe that we do anything. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So what I've had to do is what we're trying to do right now to be able to sustain the number of devices that we have and the number of users is we're going to do the remote, we're using a product called Bombard. It's one of the top 3 help support services. It's encrypted, it has all the parameters that we need, and try to do as much as we can remotely. The problem is our end users. Our end users are used to hand-holding. So we have to really work hard on preparing our end users to be self-sustained if we're going to keep this model where they don't want to give technology more staff. So what I'm trying to do is that if we have a centralized dispatch area, we'll now keep track of how many work orders are actually coming in and what it'll actually create. So if you have 100 work orders and only 10 100 on one school and 10 on another, is it the school that's having major issues? Is there a networking issue? What's going on over there? So now you can get more data analysis out of it, right? Or is it because the one that has 10 doesn't want to submit any work orders? So we have to ask all those different types of questions, right? And you saw all the different realms that we have to deal with. It's not just, you know, cybersecurity, virtualization, all this other stuff. It's a lot of other, you know, end user issues, you know? And then I can only train you on how to click here, go there. We really have to make our end users proficient in what they do. Yes.
Do you have an SLA for the tag to the end user, a service level agreement?
What we're trying to do, we have like one technician that's going to be the emergency on call person. So let's say, for example, you're doing the remote management. Hopefully, we'll do 80% of the work, right? So we'll have an emergency response but I'm letting the whole district know there's only one. So your lack of planning is not gonna, you know, it's not gonna work anymore. You know, so people have to plan their day. They need to plan ahead, because usually what happens is like, I have a lesson right now. Can you open this URL? I have a class or whatever. It's like, you know, that's something that you should have planned for the whole year, right? You already have a lesson plan for the whole year. Why are you just telling me today that you need it open? So we have to educate people and have them help. You know, if they want me to help you, then help me, right? Make sure that you enter work orders. Make sure that you voice out that we need more help. But also plan. Plan ahead. You know, people are kind of like, especially in the K-12 arena, they feel like they're like students. They just show up and they're like, you know, here you go now. Make me good, you know? I'm like, you know, I can't help you today. You know, I have all these other things, you know, that they don't know about. Because just the list that I laid out right there, it's minimal of the type of stuff. I mean, Gabriel's here, like he knows. I mean, there's other major things that the district has to deal with. But all they see is us turning on the computer and showing it on the display, right? That's all they worry about. But all the other gamuts, all the vulnerabilities, all the risks, all the restructuring of AD, all the dashboards, all that takes orchestration, planning, the security parameters, you know. Because at the end of the day, if I get compromised and I use student data and employee data, are they going to worry that I helped a teacher turn on her computer and displayed it? No. No, they're not going to care. So those are the type of priorities that we have to educate our end users. Like, yeah, I can hold your hand, but I have to take care of what actually is the most important, right? I can't use your data. I can't compromise our network just because I have to send technicians out to hold your hand because you don't plan. So those are some of the challenges that we have to deal with, you know. So the other thing, that the emergency on call, what we're also doing is we kind of creating like what we call a blitz team. So we create a calendar and let schools know that we're going to go to your campus on this day. And the reason why we're doing that is because what typically happens is even though I have a person available at a campus, you can't interrupt instruction. So the teacher's in the middle of a lesson, you can't go in and fix the computer. So if I give you a heads up, I'll tell you, hey, I'm going to be here 2 days from now. Place your work orders, and we're going to hit your school so you can plan accordingly, so you can let us in and out of your classroom. So there's other reasoning behind it, because I don't want to come to try to do a work order. You told me no. Okay, so you waited 2 days. You told me no. Now, when am I going to come back? That work order already went to the side. You're going to go to the next one. So then they get frustrated. Hey, they never came for 2 weeks. Because when we went, you weren't ready, right? So we're trying to see how we can be a little bit more proactive and stay ahead of it. But the main thing for me right now is that we have to keep our network secure and our data secure first. And the service, hopefully, if it doesn't work, we're going to modify it. But we have to account for work orders. We have to account for needs, right? Hopefully, we'll also do more refresh cycles, because that will also minimize our work, because it's newer technology. We know it works. We know it turns on. Then having to deal with aged equipment, and they want it to work like it works at home, but you know we're having to use 7-year-old, 10-year-old equipment to do what we want to do at home. So those are the other challenges that we have. You know, that we have to create a refresh cycle for all the district to make sure that we have the appropriate technology. You know, yeah, you have tons of devices, but they're old. So you have to get new technology in there, keep it new.
How are you guys updating from Windows 7 to Windows 10? It's going to be already live.
I don't even want to tell you what we have.
So I need
We're
computers.
releasing all the
I need computers.
We're replacing them all with these computers.
Yeah, we're actually,
Donated to state.
That's what we're saying, 'cause they're
And buy
gonna
new
replace them all,
ones.
'cause it's not cost effective to buy Windows 10 for all those old computers. Plus, we don't even know if they'll work with them. I mean, some of them were XP, and they're Windows 7.
Well,
So,
so that model is a model that I like to follow.
that's the model she made.
Yeah, for Hidalgo County. So I'm creating that model at the county,
What
where
is
we
that?
create an actual refresh for our equipment. So we don't want to buy it. We want to make sure that 4 years down the road, we get all new systems. Then 4 years down the road, and what happens? You only pay a third of the cost, so you're able to leverage more. So if it costs you 3 times less than what we actually buy it up front, that means you can buy 3 times more. So it's just logical, right, like for you to create that. The only things that we have to worry about is the lease rates, and then you need to make sure that you have the right services tied into it. And so let's say what lease would you want to get? 0. I don't want to pay interest. Just like we do with our cars. So that's the type of things that we have to negotiate. I don't want to pay for interest because they're going to make money on the back end. Because so you also have to learn about finance and all that's what we talk about. So as it depreciates the actual equipment, they're making money off of the equipment because you're paying more than what the actual value is. And this is all like mathematical, financial ways of how they make money, right? So you leverage that. You leverage that. And what you do, what I build into most of our leases is we get 2 wait months, one up front and one at the end, because you want to make sure you use it for the actual time you leased it for. It's like let's say for example, you get 1 tire on your car, another tire later, but you never use the car until you have 4 wheels, right? So that's what we have to make sure is that once I have all my equipment in place, then I'm building. That's when the lease starts. Then when I break down, I'm going to go all my 38 months or 36 months, you're going to give me a month so I can give it back to you. Because I need to use it for the time that I need to allot for. So there's also, you can also buy the equipment. There's a dollar buyout. And you can buy it, but the thing is, where are you going to store it? Who's going to keep it? How are you going to dispose of it? So you have to also think of that. Okay, it'll be good. Okay, if I get you a Chromebook this year, and 4 years down the road, you keep it. You take it if you want to at the end of graduation. So that could be another option. So those are other, we have to kind of do the pros and cons, and you have to do an ROI, the return on investment. Is it in our best interest to go into this? But yeah, it's very interesting to go into that. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
So you're all talking about IT, what about the software side?
Oh, that's another thing, the software side. So, it's amazing, right? Like how the realms and arenas of technology, have all kind of defined, but still meshed in, right? For as far as software, we actually have to there's no standards right now at the district. So what we're going to do is try to create standards for different levels. So if it is, Windows 10, we're going to have Windows 10 OS. We're going to have this.
Software for developers in the industry.
Oh yeah.
We're hiring developers and how would you, positions and what would you have them do?
So for our developing, we're actually looking at SQL for people to be proficient in SQL. I know I didn't mention that here, but there was a programming component here. What we need though is more of the actual development of the systems. So yeah, you have the database, you can run reports in it, you can do dashboards, but how do you display it on the web? How do you display it, on your mobile device? We need that type of programming, which is, typically they're using Python, some are using some of it. So we need to develop that because most of our programmers are in the just SQL or just, I don't know, what are Java, CC, C++, but it's evolving, so we kind of have to stay on top of that. But I hate to say, but most of the system and business system and student systems, dude, they take forever to move on. So we have to start developing on our own and pull off those systems or move the data into another database that we can actually query from to display for our users. So that's another arena. Like you have to create a dev environment, a development environment. So that's a whole slew of storage, servers, processing, just for your development. But you do want to have it because you do want to test it on that environment before you put it on your production, right? So it's worth spending that money. So how do you prioritize, you know? Which one comes first? Those are the hard things that in our level we have a hard time, like, you know, and you take risks, you know, so sometimes you're like, I only have money for this, I hope this other one doesn't go down, because I don't have money for that one. So, you know, it's just a lot of like, you know, moving the pieces and hopefully one day they'll all fall in line. But yeah, programming has become an essential component, and I think that the app development is another arena. So like the hacking and the actual programming competitions, we need to push that more, but we need to start it younger. You know, start it at the kinder level all the way up to high school. Just be a part of the coursework, because the logic is still needed for day to day. You know, if you learn the logic, you could probably pick up any other programming language if you have it. So.
I mean, a lot of times with software, the people come in to, like developers come in, sometimes it's open where it's just, what do you think? What do you think can help us make things run faster? You know, what can you make? And just kind of come up with your own ideas. Because really we don't know, we just know that we want this to do this and do it faster. And not have to have one person sitting there looking at databases and going, okay, well, here's this and here's that. They just want it all to pop up on a screen and look pretty. And that's what I think a lot of people are looking for now.
Yeah. It's very true.
Has the district faced any like serious threats, whether internal, external, like security-wise?
Oh, well, yeah, we got some interesting, we had one recently where we had a, you know, national level security call me on the phone and say, hey, we have your IP, your public facing IP, that there's a threat off your tweet account, off of your public IP. You have 30 minutes to find the user. And I'm like, the hell? So that was, I was sweating, like, you know, it was that time that the president was here and he was going to the airport, and we had to find the person within 30 minutes. So it was really, really, really stressful. Because you have the Secret Service on the phone, and they wanted you to find the user that actually sent.
And what happened if he wasn't found?
I don't know, and what if he would have gotten shot? So those are the type of things that we, in our arena, have to worry about, right? So thank goodness we found him, but what if we wouldn't have found him? You know? Maybe nothing would have happened, but what if it would have happened? And then the other is, I mean, there's other incidents that are happening under the phishing, the social engineering. I mean, some districts have been compromised because our users don't know any better. They're like, hey, go to this website, log in, and they're like, this is whatever. They might know that we have our names on the website. Like, I don't know, so we have to start training our users to be suspicious, so they tell them to log in to a banking account and actually send funds out. So, I mean, we have a lot of vulnerabilities. I'm telling you that end user vulnerabilities are like the most critical. We can put layers on layers on layers on layers of security, but if you don't teach your end user how to be suspicious or how to make sure that that's an actual employee, then we're in a lot of problems. I mean, I'd rather have kids trying to hack into my network than some of the people that handle our funds, you know, because they don't know. Like, if a kid, I'll call them like, hey, give me your username and password. I'm not going to give you, they won't even release their phone with their damn phone. So it's like, they know what they're doing, you know, so. But yeah, there's a lot of incidents like that took place. And you get a lot of pressure to find out why this is happening. That Momo thing that was happening, did you guys hear about that? Well, Instruction has a bunch of apps that lets them use the applications. They're educational, but it lets them search. So even though we're blocking it, they're proxying out of those apps. So we have to start doing more diligent research on what applications are being used in our schools. So I'm like, there's no way they can be looking at it. I mean, I'm having all these layers blocking it. Well, it's the apps that we're proxying out, that we're showing, they were showing us it's the actual application, but it's not. So we had to get rid of all those apps. So I mean, it's always, like, every single day, you're gonna have a surprise in a K-12 environment, believe me.
Yeah, you could probably go and ask the class, like, how many people have VPN, and most will raise their hand, and you're like, wow, really? You know, my wife told me that, she's like, he was asking, my VPN's not working anymore, they're blocking it. I'm like, VPN, how does he have VPN? You know, you're not thinking that kids have that stuff, but it's available really easy out there, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Do they get any formal instruction before when they get their hands on these?
So we're working on digital citizenship, and that's a little bit more about what also is happening. A lot of students don't realize that whatever they post is actually, you're building a digital signature for yourself. So no matter if you apply, you're smart, you're doing all these things, but if you're posting things that are not appropriate, you might not get into that school because they don't condone you to be in those type of things. So we have to start educating our students that you are building a digital signature for yourself. You think that, you know, oh, I did it in my browser history or whatever. Everything you've done, it's somewhere, you know, where they're keeping track of what you like, what you don't like, and you can tell. You don't even know if your phone, like all of a sudden you were talking about something and it comes out on your Instagram or your Facebook, like, how did this, like, you know, are they listening to us, Big Brother? I have no idea, but, you know, that's kind of weird. Yeah. So, I just find that strange. Anything else?
What jobs are you hiring for?
I'm sorry?
What jobs are you hiring for?
The ones that I actually was hiring for, so our restructure was really, really drastic. It was to the point where some of the staff was going to get let go, you know, so, because, you know what I'm telling you, leadership doesn't understand and they really don't, so we have to educate leadership, we have to educate our users. And the ones that I actually fought for is for those coordinators, those 3 different layers, because I really need strong people in those areas, on the tech support side, on the actual network and security side, and on the data and system side. And what each realm handles is realms that kind of integrate. So data and systems is all the student, all the business side of information. So they do all the deep data and the sensitive data, right? All your student information, all your employee information. So I need someone that makes sure that that the database is you know, working properly, the patches are there, that you run different ways to make sure that it's indexed properly, so it actually is able to do fast processing. And then also, do we need a load balancer for that application? Like, I need people to think like that, right? The other is, you know, the other thing is that we have all these third parties asking for information from these data systems. Are they secure? Why are we sending them? Why are they using it? So we have to start being more proactive of why are we using that? Why is that connection still there? Are they still using that software? So we need to start, you know, keeping track of why we have those FTP connections with different third parties. And then on the network and security, I mean, for network security, you have to create all these different dynamic routing to make sure that you can minimize downtime. So in case one side goes down, the other one can see, hey, I'm over here, you can go this way. So they can reroute and still stay up. So we have to create that redundancy or failover for our network. And the other is, how do you make sure that whatever is going horizontally or going north and south is the right traffic, right? Why is this particular user accessing this database? That user should not have access to that database. So we have to get, or that school shouldn't be talking to this particular database. So we need to like do all that due diligence and make sure that whatever we're doing is safeguarding and making sure like only these people or these users have access to this. And then on the other one is a tech support side, which is the biggest monster, right? Because you have all end user needs, and then they buy all this stuff and then make it work, you know? So we're gonna work on that technology standards, technology catalog, so we can minimize and make sure that whatever is on the catalog, we know it works. We know that it's gonna work in our school district. So they don't go and buy whatever and then expect us to make it work. So, yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
When do you plan on implementing the internships and internships are good
we're trying to.
Direction what you're looking for as far as who you're bringing in for interns.
Yes, so I'm also part of the RGBTA. That's why I wanted to present here, because I think that we need to kind of collaborate together, because we want to build our people here, right? So how do we do that? So I'm working on my internship process, and I'm going to share it with Andy, but we're also working with other entities, like maybe the agriculture, maybe on the banking side. So you guys can go and pick, like, okay, I want to learn about banking, let me go do an internship there. I want to know about K-12. So you can also get all the different experiences, so you can build up to get to the position that you want to get to. So I'll keep you posted, but it should be in a very near future that we're going to have all we do have internships already, but usually we have to get them recommended from either South Texas College or UTRGV. And I don't want to limit that. I want to make sure that like this organization is available to you guys. So once we have it in place, we'll just say, you just go here and you have all the internship for the different manufacturing and education or, higher ed, whatever you want to try. So give us maybe July or August, we'll have that for you. Anything else? Okay. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for being patient with me.
So last announcements, something that I didn't get to mention up here. First of all, thank you very much for coming, Judith. We really appreciate you coming on and talking to us.
Definitely.
I'll second thought. Yeah, so very quick, some of the things that we have up and coming in planning, of course. I mean, this is still in the planning phase right now. One of the things that we were trying to develop, and we're trying to get in touch with NetSync for establishing a server. This is something that we have a server committee that's working on. So what's going to end up happening is that we're trying to establish a program where it's going to take you through the Server Plus certification, right? You would go across Server Plus certification, since a lot of people don't focus on the server or the infrastructure pathway, not TIA. And we would start with that Server Plus certification, and at the end, we would do a capstone with Microsoft Server 2019 on an actual server platform that we're going to be getting from NetSync. Right now, I'm going through the grant approval process, right? I'm generating the grant, and we're going to go ahead and send that out so we can get some funding to actually make that happen, right? So because we're a nonprofit, we're able to get a little bit friendlier pricing, and it's looking very, very feasible to us, at least in the long term. So look out for near future, people that are trying to go into infrastructure as opposed to cybersecurity or computer support. This is going to be a big opportunity for you guys, so make sure to keep an eye out. Also, I know that I spoke to Dennis individually. I think that it's very wise for people to start getting into the aspect of IT governance as well. I mean, because at the end of the day, a lot of people say that IT management is only for managers. It's not really true. And the reason why, and this is going to bring up another point, we're going to be having a Six Sigma class specifically for IT. It's going to be DFSS. If you don't know about that, it's designed for Six Sigma. It's not specifically in the section of the DMA ICE cycle like most people know. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with Six Sigma. Okay, familiar? Yeah, probably a lot of web developers are familiar with it as well. But the DMA ICE process is the primary process for developing Six Sigma, right? But we're focusing on DFSS, which is very popular in information technology and especially software development section. So it's called Failure Mode Effects and Analysis. And the reason why that's important is because it allows you to stop basically risks that could potentially harm your customer or devices that you're working on, right? So we're going to be talking about FMEA process. We're going to show you how to get through it. And most importantly, what a lot of people need to know about Six Sigma is that a lot of people don't understand that Six Sigma is just not a tool. It's a culture. And it's a culture that has to be pushed throughout the organization. We're running on Six Sigma right now as we speak through STEP. So it's a culture. It goes down to the very basic position, whether you're a computer technician or whether you're an entry-level intern. Knowing Six Sigma is very important. Why? Because it hedges risk and optimizes your efficiency and effectiveness throughout your organization. Right? So we're going to be talking a lot about Six Sigma, specifically in failure mode and effects analysis. Very important tool, and it's something that you can use very easily. We're going to provide templates so that way you can take home and you can actually create a dynamic FMEA document so that way you can analyze risk and continuously mitigate risk. The unfortunate thing is that people that have Security Plus, I looked into the process, into the Security Plus competencies. Security Plus does not talk about FMEA. I think it's a great tool personally. So we're going to be having a presentation on failure mode effects analysis. I think that you're going to enjoy it. You know, it's also going to be one of the CompTIA classes that CE CAT classes that we're going to be going. So that brings me back to, I would say that brings me back to what I was speaking about, but I totally forget what I was speaking about. My memory is very bad. So I'm just going to move on. So for those of you that know, and I want to go back to San Antonio and the Laredo expansion, one of the big things that we're trying to do is we're trying to basically establish different types of environments. So we're going to have a Rio Grande Valley MSA, we're going to have a Laredo MSA, and a San Antonio MSA, right? There's going to be different statistical areas, and we're trying to create basically different types of funding processes. So this is the way that the organization is going to run in the future. And this is the reason why I'm telling you this is because you should be part of committees now. So try to get involved with committees because we're going to be implementing a project implementation type of environment to our organization. It's a completely different model. CompTIA, AITP does not use it. No other organization really uses it at this scale. So the way it's going to work is that different MSAs are going to have different committees, and based off of those committees, of course, they're decentralized to take into consideration their own individual IT economies, right? They're going to look at the issues in their individual economies, and they're going to come up with propositions, right? So those propositions are going to be project management approach. So it's another great tool. Just in the structure of organization, we're training people how to take into consideration project management. And from our side, it's more about project identification. But a lot of those committees are going to have to align the different types of goals that they're conducting with our overall goals for our entire organization. But they would basically seek funding from us, right? So they would send up their project to report, like the wireless committees and different committees that you're on. They would send up a project report or a charter, right? And they would basically approve that. We would approve that charter, or we would require adjustments or provide less funding, right? So the reason why I'm saying this is because it's getting very close. Because right now VTX1 is this close to funding us. I just talked to VTX1, and they're already going to provide us with. Hopefully, we're shooting about $10,000-$15,000. And that's just one of the many companies we've been talking to, right? We've been talking to people like Google Fiber, AT&T Fiber, we've been getting a lot of contacts through those areas, right? So being a part of these committees and starting to establish different ideas is very, very important. So that's one thing that I want to mention. So next thing that I'd like to talk about is that unfortunately we didn't get to really blast our social media this time. We've been running into a couple of issues, and on top of that, we've been generating a lot of programs. Now that that's over, I'm shooting for 75 plus at our next meeting. Hopefully, I don't want to see anything less than 75, right? So if you know your friends that are 19, bring them along. You know, this is a great organization to be a part of, especially since we're trying to create so many synergies with different types of organizations like RGTA and different employers, right? So aside from that, for employers, one thing that we're trying to work on is coordinating entities, right? So hopefully that's something that I've been trying to talk with the app development manager, or the application development manager, and actually identifying a person in our organization that's able to help create synergies between employers. And I'm sure that that's something that our DTA will probably be a part of, right? So anything, whether it's education or whether it's Internet of Things and different types of smart city concepts, like we're trying to enforce for our upcoming smart city forum, which we're going to provide more information about later. We're creating basically a coordinating entity, basically, so people don't when it goes back to what Renan was saying, stepping on each other's toes. You know, we want to create a synergistic environment so none of us produce the same effect, so everybody else can basically be able to achieve a lot of things without having to be repetitive across jurisdictions, right? So one other thing, I'm glad that you brought up social engineering, because one thing for cyber committee is that right now we're talking to HR, like I said, through SHRM and through different types of organizations. One thing we're going to be doing, and I already talked to a couple of people about, is that we should be running social engineering, basically social engineering classes for administrative staff, you know, so people that aren't into technology, you know. So we're going to be running different types of social engineering courses for people that are new to managing devices as well as managing just basically people, you know. So that's one thing that's coming up as well. So aside from that, that's about it that I have. Anybody else have any announcements? No? Sounds great. So we can adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much for coming. If you are not part of, if you're not not connected with us, make sure to take a picture of this, please, and get connected with us because we have a lot of opportunities up and coming. Thank you very much.